Thank you. Hi, everyone. I think I'm the last presentation for the morning, and then we have a break. So hold on. There's only more 25 minutes, and then you're free to go. And I'll welcome you to talk to me after the presentation, too. So I'm Renata Walker. Before I jump into the content, I'd like to give a little bit of personal something. I'm South American. I'm half Chilean, half Brazilian, but I'm actually Canadian too. So I moved to Canada, so right now I'm a mixed citizen of the world. But I keep on coming to Europe all the time, so I really have like a close connection with you guys too. What else? I love animals. And my favorite animals is a sausage dog. They're extremely cute. So if you like them, I have plenty of pictures that I can show you of my dogs back home in Chile. So what I'm going to be talking about today is how you can reduce the total cost of ownership for your AI models. But mostly is what else can a data annotation partner do for you, like what they should be doing for you. So kind of like set up your facts of like what you should be asking for as well. And before jumping into that, let me set who Sama is, right? We're industry pioneer and subject matter experts of data annotation. We've been doing this for 15 years. And of course, with 15 years of experience, there comes a lot of learnings, a lot of failures, a lot of success, right? So this talk is going to be about all the different strategies that we're putting in place, or we put in place to be able to succeed in the most complicated type of workflows that we get from our customers. And to give you a little bit more like information of what that complication means, so this is my product, or very small snippets of my product. I'm a staff product manager. I built the annotation platform. So I have both my customers, which are my clients who are requiring all the data, but also my users, which are the people that are using this tool to deliver on the most complex annotation requirements in the industry, which is mostly what AV are requiring us to do. Annotating multiple sensors, multiple cameras, multiple everything with very complicated instructions. And no matter how complicated the workflow or how complex the workflow is, as our customers are scaling, we consistently reach a 99% acceptance rate. And what does a 99% acceptance rate mean? It means that when we deliver a batch of work, say ground truth, right? You ask us to do annotations, we deliver you the annotation. 99% of the time, that data gets accepted, which means no other rework required. The quality was reached, and we were able to deliver that. This is not something that anyone in the industry can proudly say. And the 15 years of experience had allowed us to be able to deliver this level of certainty on the data that you receive. And when I say when the customers scale, I mean being able to deliver 35 million frames in 6 months. That's a really, really large number. And the most impressive part is that we were able to do that at 99% quality SLA, delivering 10 million shapes a day. This is a huge amount of deliveries done for a particular case study. If you want to know more about that, you can talk to my colleagues, and they will be happy to share. So basically, what should an annotation partner do for you? Before I talk about what they should do, or what we should do, I'm going to introduce the biggest challenges that they can face. And it's all about the type of noise that you can get into your ground truth. There's 3 different noises in here. I talk about sensor data accuracy, so lidar-to-lidar calibration, lidar-to-camera calibration, all the different noise that you can get into your data. Subjective ground truth, this is where there's some things you can do about it, some that you can't really, so you cannot see that much, so you have to make a call. And the third one is the one that I'm going to be focusing the most on today, is human mistake. There's a lot of layers that you can add to reduce human mistake, right? And I'm going to give you some tricks and tips. Others I'm going to hide, and I'm going to ask you to come and ask me about. So these are the 4 strategy pillars that we focus to be able to deliver ground truth data with that level of acceptance rate. First is instructions, training, and people. For me, it's all about the people. They're the ones that are looking at all your data. So you need to make sure that you're getting it right. Second one is having the right data. The people will be consuming this data, so you make sure that that data is good. And the third one is quality control. It's all about how you control the process, the layers that you're adding to your quality process to make sure that you're delivering the right quality at the beginning, from the first delivery batch. And the fourth one is tools built for people. As I said, people is very important, but you need to be able to enable them with the right tools and the right product. So let's begin with instructions, training, and people. And I'm going to give you a challenge. Where are the people on this image? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, someone hiding in the back. 5, 6. Easy. What about now? It's harder to see, right? And what if you have to consider a person only if you can see more than 40% of their faces? And children are not part of this class. It's harder, right? Now I want to ask you, what would you do if you were doing this annotation? So I am giving you a completely different example to give you a break, but also because if I were to give you this in an AV use case, I will have to give you an intersection with like maybe multiple lidars, a lot of cameras, and a lot of people, and a lot of bicycles, and like all of that, and that is not that easy to get because property, intellectual property, and all that, I cannot be sharing my customers' data. But you can understand the picture, right? You can understand how complicated this is and how important it is for you to have the right partner and the right processes and the right tools. So basically, noise can be there. That's where the whole 95% SLA comes from. There's a 5% that your deep learning models can learn to ignore. But if those errors are forming a pattern, then the model will be able to replicate it. And that's kind of like the biggest challenge or the biggest pain point, right, that you can get from bad quality. And that can come from unclear assumptions, badly defined instructions, ambiguity in the images, subjective nature of the task. So for example, if I'm going to give you an exercise, this whole meeting room is supposed to be doing the annotation the exact same way, okay? And there are certain instructions that are not clear, and that table starts discussing what they would do with that. And that other table also discusses what they would do with that. And they have different opinions. But there's no process or anything to define that like one opinion and the other is the actual truth of the way that things should be done, right? So how do we make sure then that everyone in this room will be able to do the annotation the same way? Maybe one example that I can give you, we're annotating a single frame of LiDAR. It's just one moment in time. And you have to define if the object is moving or not. But you only have one snapshot of time, right? So you have a bunch of information that can tell you if the object is moving. Headlights, not headlights, brake lights, the traffic signs, where the object is positioned. But that would be a very subjective thing to define, right? So it really matters for you to define that so that you can make sure that everyone is consistently scoring the same way, the same annotation. So how do you do that? It's all about the journey you go through with your data partner. It's a whole process. It's not like we receive instructions from our customers and we start delivering quality. No, instructions never comes in complete. You never have all the edge cases discovered. You never have any, like there's plenty of things that happen after you get those instructions and you start working on that. And all of that is only nailed by having the right team. And what do I mean by having the right team? You need subject matter expertise. So you need people that knows about AV. You need people that knows about your sensor. Well, people that knows about the sensor know how to navigate a 3D world. It's not something that is easy. Third, you need someone that knows about your sensor. I've been working at Sama for long enough to see that there's sensors of all shapes and colors, and they are all different. So you need to learn the intricacies and like how to navigate all the different types of sensors so you can deliver the right the right quality, right? And a basic requirement is having long tenure. If you have someone that does this annotation and then you have another group of people doing the same thing, there's no way that you can give that knowledge or grow that knowledge within the team so that you can keep on delivering the right quality. Third one is having strong processes. Fourth is having a perfectly calibrated team. And this kind of organization is one thing that has allowed us to nail it, right? Having a project manager dedicated for your project, a solutions engineer that is able to iterate on instructions, a lead quality analyst that is keeping everything extremely calibrated across everywhere, and a trainer that is able to bring all that instructions back, right? And a tenure of people that are constantly working on your project. But the best part for me is the motivation and dedication. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that afterwards, is what is the kind of secret ingredient that Sama has that makes people really excited and willing to work on the complexity of our customers requiring. And all of that needs to be enabled by the right platform. So I usually only talk about how you can deliver quality and be able to deliver the SLA. But the truth is that what you should be requesting your data partner shouldn't be just give me the ground truth. There's plenty more that can come with the whole process. And honestly, the only group of people that are using and looking at your whole data is them. They're the only ones that look at every single thing about the data. So you really need to make sure that you're giving them the right platform so that we can leverage all the knowledge and all the insights that come from that. And why do we believe that people are instrumental in this process is because they're the ones that are going to be able to identify the instruction gaps. So the instructions are not clear. So table 1 and table 2 are having different opinions, and we need to resolve that, right? It's them that are going to be able to detect and tell you if there's any sensor issue, if there's any subjectivity, or if there's any edge case that are arising. So if you have that example of the bicycle getting out of the lane in a rainy scene, you can flag that as soon as you see it so that you can get that extra richness out of the data that you're getting delivered, right? So it all comes from the people, but also with the platform that is enabling them to be able to deliver on that value. And that's all about instructions, training, and people. Then what about the data? Having the right data is key so that our people can perform and can deliver the quality. The first part of it is making sure that you have representative data. So one example, I think that they have that in Germany too, right? Where there is a certain day where people that are riding motorcycles have to stop riding because of the snow or the bad weather conditions. Well, we do have that in Montreal. So picture you start your data collection, and the day was, I don't know, the day before you started the data collection. No, the day after you started the data collection is when when that date starts, right? So you have one day of a lot of riders, and then the rest, I don't know, 29 days that you have, no one is riding motorcycles. In this data set, you're not going to have full representation. So even if you deliver 95% quality on, let's say, that batch or that group of tasks, you might have only 5% of data or a very small percent bicycle, maybe 5% is bicycle, and then 50% of that data is wrong. Well, you wouldn't be able to detect or identify that you have an issue with this data. And the worst part is that if you have very little representation data, there's no place, or it's not that easy to bubble up that edge case or that instruction thing. How do you annotate a motorcycle? Do you annotate the motorcycle separately? Do you annotate the people separately? Should everything be together? So you really need to make sure that all of your classes are well represented in your data set, and you have a really good set of a variety on it. And then the second one is about sensor noise. So models can be really good at ignoring noise. LiDAR to camera calibration issues, LiDAR to LiDAR calibration issues. But the people that are looking at your data No, like they might not be able to. And let me give you some examples of what that looks like. This is where noise can increase effort, decreasing quality, right? On the first image, you can see a static object in there. And you can see that if I'm accumulating the frames, so I'm looking at a big group of like time all together, it's a parked vehicle. It's not supposed to be moving. But you can still see that vehicle moving and drifting. This is a nice drift, I will call it, because it's linear. I've seen data where like this is shaky. It's kind of like an earthquake. So imagine you're doing pottery, or you're painting a really nice like painting, and suddenly there is an earthquake. How will your pottery be, or how will your like painting be? It's going to be really bad quality, right? Or really like badly done. Or maybe you see a charm on like the weirdness about like it. But basically, it's the same concept for annotation. If you have like these earthquakes or like really bad noise in your data, it's going to be really hard for you to deliver on the quality that you need. So in this other side, you can see an example where we corrected the poses. So we fixed the sensor noise issue to make sure that the annotation can be done at quality without like that extra increased effort of trying to track that object in every single frame, because the object is actually not moving, right? Second example is lane marking. So if you're doing a 3D annotation of the ground and the lane marks, you're doing a lane marking, a polyline in there. If you have like really horrible data, this is how you see the data. It's all like messy, and it's really hard for you to deliver the quality. Actually, you can't deliver the kind of like centimeter precision that you need in this case. But once you fix it, then you have a much better visibility of that particular lane. This is another one, is 3D to 2D projection. You have projection errors. You can see in there that like when you have this level of projection errors, it's harder for the user to understand or identify, and they have to go the extra mile to try to fix it or like make it better quality for you. So that's also increased effort and decreasing quality. This is another example, contextual information, right? We have customers asking us for single frame annotation, but they're asking us to know if the object is moving. Know this, we're trying to identify a car, and far away, like where the object is not very close, you can't even see how big that car is, or like what is the actual width or the actual length. So that's another level of like noise that can come from the lack of information in this case, where in the future you can see the full object, right? But in the past, if you don't have access to that information, like when you're doing the annotation, then you're going to deliver really bad annotation quality. And there's another one of 2D. So it's more around lower resolutions and dark images. You really need to make sure that you have like the right like tooling and data filtering so that you can properly detect what are the edges of that object. Even if like the data might not be perfect, like you have a little bit blurriness, it's not great brightness, you can definitely add a layer of like improving that, that quality of data so that you can deliver the right quality without that much effort. That was the data part. Then what about quality control? Well, quality is our secret sauce, so I'm going to share a little bit about it, and I'm going to ask you to talk to my team to discuss a little bit. We have plenty more to share. But basically, it's all about having multiple layers of quality. So the whole process of delivering ground truth starts from instructions, and it has a lot of steps to go to delivery, right? You need to annotate, then you have a quality control, then you have to post-process, and then you go and deliver. One of the biggest secrets that we have is that we have multiple layers of quality, but it's automation layered with human judgment, where we have all the steps of like cleaning up the data, making sure that the data is in good quality for the people to look into it, and having multiple steps of quality control to make sure we have curation as well to identify edge cases, identify where like the data might not be good, send the data to the right people before it reaches delivery. So it's all about adding layers with automation, but ensuring that we're leveraging the human judgment. And lastly, it's all about tools built for people. So, well, I'm going to talk about people in a second, but what we do at Sama is that we're not obsessed with automation. we care a lot about automation. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to deliver 35 million frames in 6 months. Like, of course, we automate a lot of it, but we are building all of those features and tools and optimization and automation on top of the baseline that is people. We are enabling people to do the work because we don't believe that you don't want the value that people can bring you, because they are the ones that are looking at your data day in and day out. They're the ones that can identify the edge cases that you never thought about. They're the ones that can really look at the last part of it and say, like, yes, this data is in good quality. They are ready to go into your model. So we have a scalable and ML-powered platform. We have a very tight integrated calibration process. We are agile, we iterate, we work with the customer, we change all the time with the customers, because that's what our customers need, right? They need iteration, and they need to make sure that they have a team or a group of people that are able to handle those changes. And we have a lot of automation too, especially on the quality front, multiple layers to ensure that we're delivering a 99% acceptance rate. And this is my favorite part. This is why I work at Sama. This is when I got pinged a few years back. The company caught my eye. We are an ethical supply chain. We've been impacting 65,000 people since 2008. It's basically why I'm here. I am here, I'm talking to my customers, I'm working with them day in and day out, because I want to be able to continue doing this impact. Because every single day that I put on extra hours, let's say, I am able to generate more jobs. So if you want to learn more about that, we're certified B Corp. We have studies with MIT that really tracks like the record and the impact that Sama is able to make in these communities. And we can definitely share more information about that too, which is what really excites me the most. And yeah, that's basically it. Trustworthiness in AV models really comes at managing risk. And honestly, the more complex your model is, the most you have to take care of your risk. Because you're not going to be able to give these instructions that are complicated to someone or some partner. And if they don't have the right product, the right processes, and the right tools, you're going to end up spending way, way more money on it, because you're going to have to do it again. You're going to have to go through multiple layers of rework. You're going to look bad in a way where you're not hitting your timelines, or you're not hitting the quality of the model that you need. So it's all about total cost of ownership, labeling consistencies, and the time to get good quality data. And that's how Sama saves you time and money. So I said that I was going to talk about reducing the total cost of ownership. This is how we do it. This is how we're improving the return over investment over your AI. It's all the different layers and the foundation that we have built to be able to deliver on the complicated requirements that our customers are throwing at us. And yeah, that's it. Trusted by the Fortune 500. We've been working with really big companies. And if you want to learn more, if you want to hear more about whatever, quality, product, Dodge Hounds, come to talk to us at the booth. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to talk. Questions?
Thank you very much, Renata, for a view a little bit on the people-centric side of approaching labeling, I guess. Any questions from the room? Anything you would like to ask Renata?
Yeah, a question. On some of your slides, I saw at the bottom a notice saying, talking about letter tech. Is that the software platform you're using?
No. Really good question. No. So we are a technical-enabled service company. So I built the platform, not LetterTech. LetterTech gave me some data that I can use to show you guys. It's in this type of data sets, it's really hard to share information with our customers becoming nervous about it, and of course, with reason, right? So we have the ability to show like data from Letter Tech, which we've been partnering with, but the platform is built by our team. All the technology, all the AI, all the complexity of the 3D world is all built by Tama.
Maybe excuse my own ignorance as well. I reacted on this as well. Who are Letter Tech?
They're just a company that are doing some AI work for also automotive companies. Yes.
So they recorded the test drive data.
Yes, exactly. So they're recorded.
Okay.
Data.
Thank you. Understood. More questions from the room?
Yeah, I have one. Can you tell us more about the 1% experience of this non-acceptance data?
The 1% experience of the non-accepted data. Well, as I said, like it's impossible for you to reach 100% quality. Like if anyone tells you that they can reach 100% quality, don't believe them. Human mistake is real. Like it's a typo in a blog article. It's like everywhere. There's no way that you can get over human mistakes, right? 1% is usually what we do with our customers. We have like long contracts, right? So over the time and the length of the contract, you have delivery quality. But at the beginning of the project is always a little bit harder, right? Because you're going through the whole calibration process. At the beginning of the project, you're never going to be able to reach 97% quality, 98% quality, or 99% quality, because you're still in that calibration phase, tuning up on what are the requirements. And that calibration phase is the project manager with the customer, then the quality analyst with the project manager, and also the associate as well, right? The people that are working on the data.
So the 99% doesn't represent the final product, but it's only, the 1% is only within that process to deliver the final product.
Yeah.
It's, you are like saying that we have 100% acceptance as a final
Delivery, yes. So let's say you have a whole project. So this is kind of like the total data, like of all of our projects that we've been delivering, which are across like multiple verticals. We've had a 99% acceptance of the batches. So we deliver batches of data to our customers, right? This week we're delivering this batch. Next week we're delivering that batch. Next week we're delivering that batch. The customer will sample that data and they will say, this is good quality, this is bad quality. And the way that you define that is, does it reach 95% quality, right? So 99% of the time that we deliver the batch, it gets accepted. So we have reached the quality SLA agreement. Now, thank you for the question. It's the very important part of
I think we have one more from the room.
Yeah, follow-up question, just for clarification. So you're talking about acceptance, 99%. Is this first-time acceptance, and what's your typical quality level you're trying to reach? Because that's something different, just for clarification on the definition. Yeah.
I'm loving all the questions. Thank you, guys. It's first-time acceptance, and it depends on the customer. Our customers, we have customers that it always starts from 95%, right? But we have customers asking us for 97, 98%, even 99, and that's where we start fighting, because 99 to 100% is really hard to achieve. We end up achieving 99 by or 98, just because our teams are very dedicated, because of the whole concept of ethical. They're so excited and happy to working on this complicated project, because they're coming literally from basically knowing or not knowing how to use computers, that they become so excited about it that they end up giving more than what our customers are asking for. But that's just kind of like a bypass of the product. It's just because of the process and the way that we're handling it. But really good question. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more from the room? Then let's give Renata a hand. Thank you for your presentation.
My pleasure.